Well, even if I knew tomorrow the world would go to the pieces, I would still plant my own apple tree. These beautiful lines are said by Martin Luther. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we all know how nutritious and healthy this fruit is. To shed some more light on this, I would request Todd Fryover, President of Washington Apple Commission, to please come on the stage and tell us more about Washington apples and the India market. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Again, it's nice to be up in front of you. You know, I had the opportunity to speak in front of numerous groups during my travels, but this particular venue is very important to me and holds a place in my heart. And as Sumit indicated, in 2001, the market in India opened, and there were 4,000 bushels that arrived in India. Only 4 containers. Those of us in the industry know that 4 containers today can be sold in a single day. Crop volumes have since increased 50%, and Galas have become the #1 variety in Washington. And Indian consumers are embracing our diversification. And those of you in this room today have played an important role in Washington's success story. Importers, you believed from the beginning, taking the risk and introducing a new origin. The retailers who saw the potential of Washington and supported the wide distribution throughout India. The wholesale market, distributing to thousands of roadside vendors who are the backbone of our distribution network. And the U.S. government, as seen today, supporting the ever-improving ties of commerce between India and the United States. And last but not least, our growers that are here today. There are 1,260 growers in the state of Washington. We are very fortunate to have 4 of them today. I'd like to introduce Dave and Carla Robison. They can stand up and wave. As stated earlier, Dave and Carla are the 3rd generation, and their children have children, so they have grandchildren living on the orchard in Lake Chelan. So there's 5 generations of Robisons living in Chelan. James Foreman. James produces fruit from the Canadian border to the Oregon border. He has 2 packing facilities, and he provides fruit to numerous other packing warehouses that get exported here to India. And Lindsay Morrison. You might find this interesting. Lindsay is a horticulturist for milk growers. Lindsay puts on her boots every day, gets in her pickup, drives 2 hours south, and meets with growers to make sure they have the most innovative techniques available to them to produce high-quality apples. In conclusion, no good accomplishment is realized alone. The success of Washington has been all groups working together for our mutual benefit. And to that, I thank each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Todd, for your beautiful words, and thank you so much to let us know that our Washington apple growers are here with us today to witness this amazing launch. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think when life gives you lemon, you should make apple juice of it and let people wonder how did you do it. Now, to take this occasion to the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I would welcome back on the stage our Washington Apple brand ambassadors. Can we have you here, please? We request you to please join us on the stage and let us know what you think about this association. I would also request Todd and Sumit Saran to please join me on the stage. Well, Disha, I request you to please join us here. And let us know what do you feel about this association and about the campaign, Washington Apple Kuch Khas Hai.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for having me. I'm really privileged and proud to be a part of Washington Apples. As an artist, I really believe in fitness, not just because I have to look a certain way, of course, but as a person, I really enjoy doing a lot of physical activities, and I always look for options and stuff that I can eat which will help me in my health. I love sugar, I won't deny, I love chocolates, I have my cheat days, but when I'm not cheating, I'm always looking for some sort of snack which will fill me up and which will also kind of destroy my sugar craving. And here we have Washington apples. I remember my mother telling me when I was a kid, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, and she made sure that I followed that religiously even now. And I love apples. I think we all love apples because it's such a wholesome fruit. And Washington, on the other hand, is making sure that it's organic, it doesn't have any toxic chemical inside it, and it's very important for me to choose what I eat. I'm always looking for something which will not harm me, especially vegetables and fruits nowadays are not really that clean as they look. And I'm very happy to be here with Sanjeev sir and promoting something that I really truly believe in, and I hope that people understand the importance of eating clean and importance of eating organic stuff rather than eating something which is grown in not the best environment. Thank you so much everyone for having me here. I'm feeling very happy and proud to be a part of something that I truly trust in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Disha, for your words. I'm sure Washington apples will reach new heights in India. Well, now I would request Master Chef Sanjeev Kapoor to please come here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's just one word that describes Chef Sanjeev Kapoor, and that's one word is trust, isn't it? Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you for this honor and privilege to have me part of this August company. Really, people who matter in this country with food, be amongst you is a big honor, and big welcome to all the growers who we are lucky to have you with us in Mumbai earlier last week. 2006 or 7, I remember we had gone to US to film for a show, and we had gone there to film prunes that are grown there. But हमारी शायद planning बहुत अच्छी नहीं थी. Maybe our planning was not that good. The harvest had already taken place, and we couldn't find any prunes there. And I'm glad that we traveled, and we went to Oregon. We went and we actually filmed apple there, and what we saw there, I instantly fell in love with. It was something which is a sight that it was like a dreamland. It's like a kid in a candy store. And what I saw there, it was so beautiful. Everything was pristine, and we saw the whole process. We filmed it and we showed it here. And when I was asked that, would you be the brand ambassador for Washington Apple, normally I take my whole process. In last 25 years, I have endorsed less than 20 brands maybe, and my process is that it takes months for me to say yes. I would do trials and more trials, and our team would do trials, and here it was an instant yes. And that's the trust that I have in these apples, and I'm happy to be here standing today in front of you, speaking more about it. I can say that all the goodness, nobody needs to tell you that apple is good for you. I think all of us know this, and when now we can have it throughout the year, as Todd said, that it's something that we can have it, and I know that how it is packed, what care is taken. It's a snack that we can have it throughout the day, nice and fresh and crisp. There cannot be a better snack than this. In a country where we have to say that, oh, we are becoming diabetic capital of the world, we need to propagate more healthy things, and I think let's start with let's start with apple, let's start with Washington apple. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for your words. I'm absolutely convinced which apples I'm buying now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's EV for all of you. Let's see what apple growers have to say. I request all of you to please orient yourself towards the screen. Thank you.
This is Washington Apple Country. These fertile valleys and plateaus of America's Pacific Northwest grow the best apples in the world.
My great-great-grandfather came up from California and decided to plant an orchard in Topeka. Kind of runs in my blood.
I am fourth generation, so my great-grandpa started farming. He had a diversified farm, as everybody did in the 40s and 50s.
My great-grandfather, first generation, he founded it. We're approximately about 110 years old.
Our first 7 years were tough as nails, in 1949. Yeah. So we've been at it a long time.
More than 175,000 acres of apple orchards are nestled in the eastern foothills of the Cascade Mountains of Washington at elevations from 500 to 3,000 feet above sea level. Our orchards are irrigated with plentiful, cool mountain water from multiple waterways throughout the state, including the Columbia and Yakima rivers.
It's a wonderful climate. I mean, we're right here in the delta of the Okanagan River and the Columbia River, and there's a lot of days of sunshine. We don't get a lot of big adverse weather events. It's really conducive for apples and cherries. You have really cold nights, warm days. You have a big temperature differential. The fruit can contract and expand, and it makes for a very correct cell division and cell structure. So the fruit is crunchy, and it's just a great area to grow fruit.
Washington has a great natural climate for growing apples. As far as the number of degree days that accumulate, is perfect season for good ripening and things. This technically is a desert, so water is key, and we have the beautiful Columbia River right there. We get our water up from that, so we have good clean water to use, and then we can control that water as well through our irrigation system. Rather than just having to depend on rain, we can really manipulate it and give the tree exactly what it needs.
Our growers continually improve their growing methods to produce apples that are crisper, juicier, more flavorful, and hardier, so that they keep better in storage. Washington growers successfully harvest a wide variety of apples, including Red and Golden Delicious, Granny Smith, Honeycrisp, Fuji, Crips Pink, Gala, and many others. We use the latest technology in our warehouses to ensure the highest quality apples reach your shelves.
It's way more complicated than it looks when it's in the grocery store. It's a lot of steps, a lot of thought, a lot of process to go in to make it a healthy item. We want the consumer to have a good eating experience every time they pick up an apple. So we use all this technology to make sure that they do.
The average size of a Washington apple orchard is about 100 acres, but some cover as many as 5,000 acres and employ 300 or more farm workers year-round. It takes an estimated 35,000 to 45,000 pickers to harvest the apple crop during the peak of harvest. Our families work hard to provide the safest, tastiest, and healthiest apples to the world.
The reason why this Red Delicious apple is so special is you can see we have superior color. This is even the striped varietal, but we have superior color. We have great shape too. It's great type. A lot of consumers, they want this type of elongated type that, and the points on there. The other reason why this is a great apple is condition on this is going to be better than anything else out there.
Washington has the best condition, the best storage, and all the right elements to make sure that that consumer has the best quality all year round.
This is where the best apples in the world are grown. There's nothing like the taste of a fresh, ripe Washington apple. There's nothing like the smell of a fresh, ripe Washington apple.
Wow. I think we all are craving for an apple, right? You all must go ahead. There are apples on your table. Pick one, eat it, and let us know what do you feel about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so impressed after seeing these technological advancements when it comes to shipping, packaging, grading. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we'll move on to our question-answer session. I would request Mr. Sumit to please take over that. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give our dignitaries once again a big round of applause? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. We have importers, retailers, wholesalers here. Apart from that, we also have leading media houses and publications. If you have any questions, there are people with mics around. Please raise your hand, identify yourself, and ask your question. My only request is that keep your questions limited to Apple's health and nutrition for the chef and chef.
My question is, what differentiates Washington apples from the regular ones?
And who's this for? Who's this question for?
Mr. Todd.
Well, that's an easy question. As you saw in the video, we are blessed with rich volcanic soil. We have 300 days of sunshine. We're at the base of the Cascade Mountains. We have ample water. But most importantly to this are the growers that are here with us today and those that are not in Washington State. They are innovative, hardworking, and out there every day to do everything that they possibly can to produce the highest quality apples.
Thank you.
My question is for Disha. Why association with Washington Apple and how class it is for you?
Sorry, sir, I can't hear
I
you.
can't see you.
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Why association with Washington Apple and how class it is for you?
How class is it for you?
Okay. Well, it's very, very khas for me because I really enjoy eating healthy food, and I feel health is a lifestyle. It's not something you can do for a day or a week or a month. And I always look for substitutes which can, remove the junk food that we all love. And I think apple especially is something that I really enjoy because it's a tasty snack, it's sweet. And Washington especially is a brand that I really trust and I actually consume a lot. And yeah, I mean, for health or for generally living a healthy life, you need to choose your options wisely and you need to choose the brands wisely which you can trust. And yeah.
Thank you.
My question is to Mr. Todd and you, Lakshmi from PTA and from the media. Yeah, there's a misconception among consumers that it's genetically modified fruit. Is it so?
No, it's actually not true. All the apples in Washington are either crossbred through traditional methods, and there are no GMO apples in Washington State, except one, the Arctic apple, and it is very clearly indicated, and it is only sold in very limited quantities to domestic retailers.
And what kind of shipments you are looking at in the current year, in the current calendar year, in comparison to the last year? If you could give the figures.
Certainly. This year we're faced with a few challenges. One, of course, is the additional 20% duty. Our expectations are, right now, we're 5% above last year as far as shipment volume goes, and we're hoping to eclipse 2.5 to maybe 3 million bushels this season.
This is 3 million boxes?
That's correct. A bushel and a box and a carton are all interchangeable. 42-pound cartons are 20 kgs.
Thank you.
Hi. My question is for Sanjeev sir. So does the nutritional value of the apple goes down when it is cooked or baked?
So any cooking that you do, there are few things that become better, there are few things that are lost. It's a natural process. So heat sensitive nutrients would be lost to some degree. And there are things that convert, so few starches become better for digestion. So it's same for everything. It's not that it'll apply to apple differently. It'll apply to heat sensitive. Let's say vitamin C is heat sensitive, right? So it will part of it would be lost. Right? So yeah, otherwise you don't really have to worry. It's in normal day-to-day life, the way the wisdom that has been there. Let us say what I have seen today is that we try and seek too much of information, which actually is not helping. I meet a lot of young kids. So I would say keep to the basics, stick with that, and that's it's like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Basics.
Thank you. My question is for Todd. Yeah. How many varieties you are producing in Washington State? Which variety is more tasty and healthy right now?
Now, do you really think I can answer that question? I think every apple is tasty and unique. And the interesting thing is, all of you people think differently. Whether you want a sweet apple, a tart apple, a red apple, a green apple, a bicolored apple. So in my opinion, being employed by the Washington apple industry, there's no such thing as a bad apple. All Washington apples are unique.
Thank you.
Hello. This is Mahadev from Paris. I want to understand what's the market size of this apple in India, and what is your share? And number two question, I want to understand what is your distribution network in India? Thank you.
So the apple market in India is somewhere around 28 million bushels in total. So the total pie is 28 million of imported products that come in from the outside. However, in Himachal Pradesh and in Kashmir, there are somewhere around 75 million bushels that are produced and sold here in India itself. Our market share is about somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 million boxes on average, so 5 out of 28, we would be about, 16% of the total import volume coming into India. And the second question again?
I want to understand what is your market distribution in India? What is the strategy of market distribution?
So, can I just? My suggestion would be we can have a chat just post this press conference. If there are any more questions for Chef and Disha, trade questions, because we're going to be staying back, they have to leave right after this. So if there are any specific questions to Chef or Disha, we can take those right now.
Yeah, I have a question to Chef. Like, you must have had many recipes here. Like, have you tried in Washington apples vis-a-vis Indian apples? Does it taste different, or any recipe that you?
So I would say that to get the taste, you have to eat it in its natural form. Okay? So I would say that by the time, so we have lived in cities like Delhi and Bombay and other places, or Varanasi. The clear difference that we, what I have seen is the crispness that's there. And it's like we were traveling recently, and we were going and feeding soldiers in Kargil, and on the way we were in Kashmir, and we were there, and what you can pick from the tree there, and the juiciness, the crispness, to be able to get that, there's a lot of work that goes in it. Since I've been there and I've filmed and I've spent some time with these farmers, I think there's a science behind that to work on. I remember we were filming at that time how to work on what is the sweetness level. There's a science to it. You can do that. It's not just happening by chance. There's a lot of work. I was talking to James the other day, and they said that there are many flowers that are there, and then they would grow into fruit. But what is it, 1 in 100 that you let grow? about 99 apples are not, they don't grow to be an apple, the flower to apple, so that all the nutrition, all the taste, everything is concentrated in one apple. When that kind of care is there, each apple is perfect. The way they grow on trees, there's enough light that has to come onto each apple. Now, these are techniques, these are, there's a lot of work that goes in. So,
my question is like, is it easy to cook and taste better?
Is it definitely, you can easily cook it, you can eat it, whatever you want to do, you can make a juice out of it, you can do it. Possibilities are what you want to make. You want to make a face pack with this, you can do that also, right?
Better than Indian apples?
Better than, I think it's like asking, is Todd better than Disha and I think there's comparison with, this is nature. Nature produces these things. I think comparisons are not for this. We look at uniqueness, we look at what is good in everything. So I would say that both are good for what they stand. And when I am in Kashmir, I would enjoy apple there. When I am here, I would enjoy that, and I would find goodness in that. So it's not a competition that, oh, this is good, this is bad. It's not like that.
Okay, so any other trade discussions we'll have post this. Before we end, I would just request Chef and Disha to stay on the stage for 2 more minutes to get some photo ops, some key people that I wanted to invite on the stage. Can I get Jean and the FAS team to also come on the stage once? And please, Lindsay, if you can just come up on the stage.
Live जा रहा है. Apple पकड़ लो apple. अरे बैठ जाओ हेलो. अरे बैठ जाओ लाइव जा रहा है यार.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Well, I must say there are so many amazing things we can learn from apples, Washington apples, and implement it in our lives, like being well-rounded in every sphere of your lives. One should eat healthy, savor variety, let your plans ripen, hold on to your core values. You should know when to stop. And lastly, take her life a bite. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now taking it further, as it is said that time is the most precious gift anybody could give someone. So we'd like to thank you for your valuable time you've given us today. So let's have a big round of applause for ourselves, please. Everybody here. Thank you so much for joining us and making this conversation, this conference so interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Not forget to take your Washington apples from your registration counter and please join us for lunch. Thank you. This is Bhavita Singh signing off.
Yes, it was, and our grandchildren.